There's nothing worse than moving to a city only to find out that it's not what you were expecting. Every city has little quirks and idiosyncrasies that you probably wish you would have known before living there. Well, if you're considering a move to Louisville, Kentucky, then today's video is an absolute must-see for you. Because in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 3 things you absolutely must know before living in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome back. I'm Katie Skeen, a local realtor here in Louisville, Kentucky. And on my channel, we discuss all things related to moving to and living in Louisville, Kentucky. The first thing that you need to know is Louisville is very neighborhoody. That's right, I've made up a new word here. It's neighborhoody. And what do I mean by this? And how does this impact us? In Louisville, we don't really have suburbs. We have these little things called rural class cities. So you're not going to necessarily have your own school system. You may or may not have your own fire and police. Each little rural class city is different. So some of these rural class cities have a population as small as just a couple hundred people. And our largest rural class city, Jefferson, Kentucky, has a population of approximately 28,000 people. Now, Jeffersontown is going to function more like a traditional suburb, what you're used to in other cities, such as Columbus, Ohio, or Indianapolis, Indiana. In other mid-major cities in the United States, you're going to notice that each suburb has its own distinct feel. A lot of times people will end up moving there because it has desirable schools or it's a particularly safe suburb of the city. But in Louisville, all of our neighborhoods just tend to bleed right into the next one. Now, of course, each neighborhood has a distinct style and flair and flavor to it, but in general, it's just a lot more of these smaller neighborhoods put together to make up our city. So for example, New Lou and the Highlands and Bardstown Road is going to be a really well-known area for their restaurants. Bardstown Road is called Restaurant Row here in Louisville, Kentucky. Whereas in the downtown area, it's not as well known for its restaurants. It's going to be more known for its museums. If you're looking for Victorian architecture, you're going to want to focus on the neighborhood called Old Louisville. So every different rural class city has its own distinct features here in Louisville. Now, another reason why I call Louisville neighborhoody is because we have a county-wide school system. So if you're relocating here, this oftentimes will trip people up, but they are used to thinking in terms of, I moved to a suburb and these are the schools, and the schools are either good or bad. Well, in Jefferson County, you're going to have a real mixed bag because when you move to a particular location, you're actually not 100% guaranteed any particular school. You're going to be in a cluster of schools that has approximately 3 or 4 elementary school choices, 1 or 2 middle schools, and then you'll feed into an eventual high school. So this makes it a little bit more complicated when you're trying to decide where to live if schools are a really important factor for you. One other little tip about how it's neighborhoody here in Louisville. If someone asks you where you went to school here in Louisville, they're not asking you what college or university you went to. They're actually asking what high school you went to. We have a really strong sense of pride around our high schools here, especially within the Catholic school system in Louisville. So if you went to St. Xavier, which we call St. X, or if you went to Trinity, that's a big rivalry. Manual High School, Male High School, all of these places, people have a lot of sense of identity and pride in where they went to high school. The second thing that you absolutely must know before moving to Louisville, Kentucky is that you're going to need a car. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to use the public transportation system. Of course, we have several different options for that. If you want to pay a lot of money, you could get around with an Uber, a taxi, or a Lyft. Now, those things are going to be a lot more expensive, but if you're wanting to rely on public transportation, that's a little bit more affordable. We have TARC, which is our bus system. A couple of pros about our TARC bus system is that it is very affordable, so it's going to be your most affordable option for transportation, but the downside is it's not so reliable. TARC does not really provide an adequate way for you to tell the bus routes. Another con is that TARC doesn't run to every single part of the city, so if you're needing to go from one area to the other, it's going to be hard, and even once you get to the bus stop, you'll often have a pretty long walk to get to your destination. Now, if you're just trying to get around downtown, the best coverage of TARC is going to be in that downtown area of Louisville, so maybe you could get away with it if you're living in that area. So the easiest way for sure to get around the city is to have a car. And the great news is that almost everything in Louisville is about 20 minutes away. So whenever someone asks me how long it's going to take to get there, I'm like, it's going to be about 20 minutes. So you'll find that it's a very easy city to navigate. There doesn't tend to be an overwhelming amount of traffic, especially if you're avoiding those rush hour times. And it's a pretty easy on and off all of our expressways to be able to get to most places you need to go. The third thing that you need to know is that Louisville has constantly changing seasons, and I really mean that. You might experience 4 different seasons all within one day. Louisville is known for its incredibly unpredictable weather. I'll give you an example. Just this morning, my kids were asking what in the world should they wear to school, pants or shorts. The date here today in Louisville, Kentucky is November 16th. Now you would think it would already be cold here, but when my kids got up this morning and they were getting ready for school, it was warm and they were thinking about wearing shorts. Well, the rain is coming later today, and once it rains, it's really going to cool off and become very chilly. So we're going to have, 75-degree weather where you'd want to be wearing shorts and a t-shirt, all the way down to the 30s or 40s where you're going to be very cold tonight. It's also going to rain, so watch out for the flooding that happens in Louisville. But the weather is just constantly changing its mind. You'll see this throughout the winter time as well, where it will snow one day and then the next day all the snow has melted because it's 65 degrees and sunny. So you're going to want to be prepared. No matter where you're going or what you're doing, you need to be prepared for wind, rain, snow, hot weather, cold weather, all the different things, and you might experience all of those things on the same day. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you a bonus content. Okay, I said there were 3 things, but I'm going to give you a 4th. The 4th thing that you absolutely must know about Louisville, Kentucky is the outdoor recreation is actually better than what you probably think it is. A lot of people might feel like they're sacrificing on green space and parks and biking and recreation when they're moving here, but we have a lot of great opportunities for outdoor recreation. We have a famous park right here within our city limits called Cherokee Park, and it was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, who's the same guy who designed Central Park. It's an amazing park right inside our city, fairly close to downtown, that has a 2.2-mile scenic loop. You totally forget that you're even in the city. It's a place that a lot of people flock to for walking, biking, hiking. There's playgrounds and splash grounds for the kids. So many wonderful outdoor recreation opportunities at Cherokee Park. Other notable parks, of course, would be our Parklands system, which is multiple parks linked together. It's privately owned. Those are really beautiful places to boat, hike, bike, all of the things. And then of course we have Jefferson Memorial Forest, which is one of our largest forests in an urban environment in the United States. So if you're a lover of all things outdoor, you don't have to be too worried because we do have something for you here in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video about the 3 things plus the bonus content that you absolutely must know before moving to Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.